gang, how are you? Who are you gonna call? Gutting the Sacred Cow, that's who. Brand new episode, and this week is Kevin Israel's all-time film favorite taking shrapnel, and that is Ghostbusters. And it can't make me happier to see this. Why? Because the boys from Blockbuster Mentality have come on to attack Ghostbusters, and they put up a hell of an argument. Before we get to it, please listen to our two new sponsors we have in our podcast on our episode and support them as they're supporting us. Don't forget, Kevin and I are now on Clubhouse. So if you have the Clubhouse app, great. If not, download it or ask us for an invite. We've got a few to give. Thursday at 8 o'clock, it's us talking movies. Every Tuesday at 9 o'clock, it's the Kevin and Kevin One Joke Workshop. So if you want to try some new material out or just hang out in a room with a couple comedians and listening to how jokes are constructed, come on into Clubhouse. Find us Tuesday and Thursday nights. We're there. GuttingTheSacredCow.com every week for the blogs and the merch shop. You know the rest. Thanks again, guys. We love you. Without any further delay, here is Blockbuster Mentality doing Ghostbusters.
Gather round, here's what I know. It's just that this cow has got to go. I know some people kinda like it, yeah, it's trending right now. Yeah, that doesn't matter, cause we're gutting the sacred cow.
Scotty doesn't know. No, Scotty doesn't know. So don't tell Scotty. Scotty doesn't know. Kevin Israel, name that film.
Wow, you really felt bad for me, didn't you?
I do, because you've been the messages I get going, your friend is a complete.
I'm not even gonna. I'm not. You know what? I'm not even answering it because that's just offensive. That's offensive. I understand. I don't always know your fucking obscure, fucking foreign film quotes that you pull out of your ass.
All right. Okay. Watch this. I'm going to turn it to our friends, the Blockbuster guys. What's going on? I have one question before we answer the obvious quote. I'm going to throw one at you, and you tell me, is this obscure or not? Ready? Here we go. You dumb bastard. It's not a schooner. It's a sailboat. What film was that from?
Summer Rental?
Mm.
No.
Beats the hell out of me.
Mallrats? No, Mallrats?
Oh,
Okay.
Kevin Smith. I like him. His movies, meh.
What do you mean, meh? His first two are excellent. The other ones you can argue.
Oh,
Where are you guys from?
maybe next episode we'll do.
Where are you guys from?
We're in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, Tampa area.
Blockbuster Mentality boys are joining us today, and that is Ben and Dave. But gentlemen, how the fuck are you?
Fantastic.
Good. Thank you for asking. How are you? We're doing great. Appreciate you having us on.
Not a problem. And the boys today, I am taking in such joy because the boys at Blockbuster Mentality, and just guys, give a shout out what your podcast is, what it's about, and where we can find you real fast before we get into it.
Yeah, Blockbuster Mentality. All our updates and everything come from mostly Twitter and Instagram. Twitter at BlockbusterCast, Instagram at Blockbuster Mentality, and yeah, that's where you can find us. Find us on all your podcast platform and other movie podcasts. We try to get on guests and celebrities to discuss their movies, and you know, it's the way the fans can get to know the guests through what they think of a movie. You know, they get different perspectives of the guest and everything. So that's what we do.
Word. Ben and Dave have chosen a film that strikes deep in the heart of boys our age, and especially takes a fucking bamboo shoot right into Kevin Israel's urethra, as the boys have selected Kevin Israel's all-time favorite movie, Ghostbusters. The reboot. No, just kidding.
The reboot.
1984, a budget of $30 million, a haul of $295 million. Turn that into 2021 dollars. A budget of $77.1 million. A haul of $758.5 million.
Yowza.
Wowie zowie. Almost Avengers money, not quite there. I would put this around probably X-Men First Class money.
Yeah, no, this is definitely up there with our blockbusters today.
IMDb, as we know, is a scale 1 through 10 with decimal points. I am going to ask Ben to venture a guess, and then Dave, what did Ghostbusters score on the IMDb scale?
IMDb scale. Well, I did look at it, but
Then recuse yourself.
No. So what I thought it was going to be, though, before I looked at it, I thought it was going to be 6.1, 6.2, judging by typical IMDb scores.
Dave?
I did not cheat. I'll go 7.3.
Kevin Israel?
8.4.
7.8.
Okay.
Close.
Wow.
Rotten Tomatoes is a 1 through 100 percentage score. Dave, you go first. Ben second. Kevin Israel third.
I'll say 89.
Ben.
It's beloved, so I'll go 84.
Kevin Israel.
I'm gonna go lower. This is the critic. We're doing critics, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do 77.
97.
Holy shit!
Wow. Let's spot a problem right away.
Kevin Israel taking a cocky sip already off the gate. Audience score, Kevin Israel. You go first this time, then Ben, then Dave.
See, the I've been burned by this before because I always think that the audience is going to be higher than the critics, but I mean 89.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say 85.
All right.
If IMDb was 7.8, I would say 91.
One of you is a proud winner of 2 showcases, and that is Kevin Israel at 88.
The guy wearing a Ghostbusters hoodie.
Not my only one, by the way.
I bet.
Oh, please
I bet.
tell me you have one for part. Please tell me you have one for part 2, so I can. Kick you
Wait,
in your
by
nuts.
the way, and I can't do it because there's just too much shit in here. I have 2 dogs named Gozer and Vigo.
Oh my goodness.
That sounds about right.
The second dog should file for animal abuse with the name Vigo, because that second film sucks.
Is there CGI?
We were gonna name
terrible
it. We were
too?
gonna name it Zool, and then I was like, "That's gonna be the most obnoxious thing." Like the
Zool, don't you
Yeah.
poop in the kitchen?
Who's a good boy, Zool?
Yeah.
Who's a good boy?
Funny how Zool is also code for asshole. Is it asshole? Zool, Zool. There you go.
That is accurate. Yep.
Quotes. Back off, man. I'm a scientist. Kevin Israel, I'm sure I'm going to leave as many for you as possible. I think I took a few that were on the lesser scale. Number 2, Print is dead. Egon Spengler, 20 years plus ahead of the curve on that one, huh? This is probably my favorite one I forgot about. That's the bedroom. Nothing ever happens there. What a crime.
I'm not gonna go with the obvious ones because
I know.
There's just tons of obvious ones.
I know.
I'm
not done yet, goddammit.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Where are
My
we?
bad.
The teens, I think. Well, when we get to the 20s, I'm going to throw up. And I'll give one obvious. When someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes. And I apply that quote to virtually everyday knowledge. Kevin Israel, your turn.
My uncle thought he was Saint Jerome. I've said that I don't know how many times. I've worked in the private sector. They expect results. And having worked for government, that one strikes really, really close to home. And the last one, everybody these days has 3 mortgages.
Gentlemen, any quotes from you?
The only one worth mentioning, I believe, is yes, it's true. This man has no dick. So I get a laugh from my co-host, so that's good.
That was an obvious one. That's why I didn't put that one on there. I knew one of you was going to peg that one.
Well, I was just picking the good ones, and
All right.
that's really the only good one.
Tell that to Dickless. Tell that to Dickless over here. I love that. 5 fun facts. Slimer was based on John Belushi. Did you know
Makes
that?
sense.
I didn't know if you were still going or if we were supposed
Oh,
to.
no. I was waiting for a reaction that it did not
Okay,
get.
sorry. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Get out of here. John Belushi?
Once receiving the $30 million budget approval, Aykroyd had exactly 12 months to write, shoot, and put the effects in place to meet the June 84 release date.
Makes sense.
That was a task too tall.
The role of Louis the Accountant was originally supposed to go to, take a guess, big hit, big star in the 80s. Huge star.
Chevy
Comedic
Chase.
actor. No, but I like what you're thinking.
Oh, they're all in this movie. No, John Candy.
Ooh. I don't have one.
Ben, pour yourself a scotch. You hit that fucker on the head. John Candy.
Nice.
Oh, wow. All
They-
right.
Candy envisioned Lewis as a stern German man with a thick accent and kept dozens of dogs, but filmmakers wanted to keep the original Lewis character to be meek and mild, so it went to Rick Moranis.
Damn. That's one thing I'm glad they went with. I love John Candy, but I think Rick Moranis worked better.
And then he
Yeah,
got
one of the
punched
few
in
bright
face.
spots. Yeah.
500-gallon batches of not marshmallow, but shaving cream were dumped onto the extras when they blew up the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and only 75 pounds of shaving cream dumped for William Atherton. And now the best 5 fun facts I have ever unearthed in the 70-some episodes in the history of this podcast
Ooh.
is...
Do you say that
delete-
every episode or?
Kevin Israel, have I ever said that?
No, I'm on the edge of my seat to find out what this fact is.
Deleted from this film was a scene where Bill Murray plays Carl Spackler from Caddyshack as a bum along with Dan Aykroyd when Louis Tully is attacked by a demon dog. You motherfuckers took away an extra scene from my all-time favorite film and kept it out because of time constraints, quote unquote. Took that out. Fuck you.
That's such a coming to America move.
I know,
Speaking of
right?
which, not to derail here, but I just found out that in Liar Liar, you can see not Bill Murray, Jim
Carrey.
Carrey doing Fire Marshal Bill in the background after he does the whole plane incident at the end. You can see him just as an extra talking on a walkie-talkie as Fire Marshal Bill. So fun fact for you there.
I'm going to pause this. I'll be back in 15 minutes, fellas, because Fire Marshal Bill is the jam.
Kev, can I add in one fact?
I would love for you to add in a fact.
So the Ghostbusters, the moniker was actually already taken by a TV show that was created in the 70s, which I remembered the actual show, and I don't remember why I saw it because I don't think it aired typically by us. But then that Ghostbusters actually became a cartoon, which was terrible and featured a gorilla and a flying car. And so when they came out with the Ghostbusters animated show, that's why they had to call it the real Ghostbusters, because the first Ghostbusters beat them to the punch, trying to juice off the success of the movie.
I did see that in my notes. Do you remember the arcade game, The Real Ghostbusters? It sucked.
So no, I do not remember it. So
Okay.
Do either Kevin's have any action figures? Because I had a Venkman for sure.
I had all of them.
I had no action figures because it was a garbage cartoon.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Transformers, G.I. Joe, Mask, Thundercats, He-Man. That's all we had here. That's all we needed, because that shit had a story, substance, and a good goddamn time. and amazing theme songs, albeit though this has a fucking iconic one. But no one gives a shit about toys here. This is not Funko land, all right? This is time for our guest, Blockbuster Mentality, Kevin Israel 2. Gut the Sacred Cow.
Well, sacred's a strong word. Dave, where do we start? Do we start Aykroyd? You want to start with Aykroyd?
Well, yeah, I think the cast is a big problem. I mean, you got Bill Murray. Yeah, I mean, Bill Murray is great, and Bill Murray is great and everything. And as we talked about Rick Moranis, he's good, he's hilarious. But I think everybody else falls apart, and I think Aykroyd would be the number one target here, Ben. I mean, did the guy do anything in his career? He's famous for one line, "Jane, you ignorant slut." Everything else was a downhill slope. Why was this guy in a million movies in the 80s and the 90s? He's not funny. He's terrible. And apparently he even believed a lot of this nonsensical plot that's in this thing, Ben.
Yeah, he actually, yes, he believed it. I don't know if he is a Scientologist? No, I don't think so. But it would make sense if he was. Yeah.
Just here are my crazy ideas. Let's make a movie.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking as I was rewatching this movie. Yeah, I mean, first of all, his character is pointless. Second of all, he just falls flat in everything he does. I mean, he's had things here and there. It's like he's good at playing the straight man, but like in this, he's just, I don't know, he's not even the straight man. He's just exposition. That's it.
And we gotta get the gadget into the thing, and then we gotta move it back over here. Okay, don't press this. Okay, you see the button, you gotta push the button in this sequence. Here we go, guys. Here we go. Yeah, it's like that's the whole movie.
I'm getting a ghost blowjob. Let me cross my eyes. Yeah. Wouldn't that be funny, guys, to put that in the movie?
Particularly for the kids. I think that they really appreciated that.
Yeah, this is because this is PG, right? I believe this is
PG. Yep,
PG movie.
This is when PG actually meant something.
So yeah, I mean the cast. I mean, obviously Bill Murray and Rick Moranis, they kind of steal the show cast wise.
Yeah, they can't fail, right? So right, but that's just like basic level of competence because they're both hilarious, great actors.
Right, exactly. And then continuing with the cast, what are your thoughts on Harold Ramis, Dave?
He's a good writer, but a bad actor. I mean, there's deadpan, and then there's just like nothing.
Says don't cross the streams. I mean, that's a silly line. Because I took it as people pissing together, and you cross the stream, play sword fight, maybe a little. Was that the joke?
Yeah, I think sword fighting. I mean, definitely was there. But then at the end, they're like, you know what, guys? We've been keeping these things apart the whole movie. Let's put them together for some reason.
Maybe we should cross the stream.
I'm now tempted.
So yeah,
which I didn't understand, by the way. I mean, because I guess the world's gonna blow up or something if you touch them. But now I don't know, because the door swings both ways. We can now blow up the world without really blowing it up. I don't know. And I think here's the way I look at it. This is a kids movie with some adult humor. And to try to make it more than that, I think that's where it fails. Because you can nitpick this thing to death because the plot is absurd and the things with crossing the streams is absurd. You can put that aside. But if you do that, I think you can't say this is a truly great movie. I think that's my main problem with it. No, I like, what do you think about that, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, to continue on, no, I totally agree with that. But yeah, to continue on here with, what's wrong with this movie? So they see a ghost for the first time. It's okay, we see a ghost. Bill Murray has already been established as a skeptic. We don't really know what he believes and everything. I get it, guys. This is a comedy. We're not supposed to be looking at it as, it's plot hole central, but still, you gotta make sense of things. You got Bill Murray is a skeptic, and then we get no backstory on Dan Aykroyd or Harold Ramis, and then Bill Murray and them see a ghost, and they're like, "Hey, let's start the Ghostbusters." Yeah. And then they make a commercial and everything. If you tell us, we'll believe you. Their first client, Sigourney Weaver, they're questioning her. Like,
they don't believe her.
Yeah. Like, okay, so you get your first client and you don't believe her after you said you would believe her after these commercials. So it was just like, okay. So, and then the only reason Bill Murray goes to her house is because Peter Venkman, sorry, I'm saying actors and and characters, mixing them up. But the only reason he goes to his house because he has the hots for Sigourney, and but as soon as the hotel calls, they're like all over it. And then all of a sudden they have these weapons with no explanation that can capture these ghosts.
It's a
what the hell? I mean, what's going on?
It's a reactor on my back.
Yes. I all of a sudden have a reactor.
I love watching Kevin's faces.
I know.
Just scrunch up in consternation the entire time. Oh, he's gonna shit a fucking lump of coal at his asshole the size of Nebraska. Go on.
There's something else too, Ben. I think Kevin mentioned this a few minutes ago. It's the idea of the government in your way, but this turns into like some sort of like Reagan era 80s small business propaganda against the government. It's really kind of laying it on thick. When you when you watch it as a kid, you don't really maybe pick up on that. And that one struck me as weird. And as you said with those proton packs, I mean, well, I got to get the government off my back so I can carry around a nuclear reactor on my back.
Yeah, I mean,
a little extreme.
They got to regulate this, and the environmentalist comes in. They got to, make sure they're regulating everything. Maybe one of the best performances of the movie, actually, the guy who played Peck, he actually did a really good job. Far better than Dan Aykroyd or Harold Ramis, that's for sure.
Well, that's the only character he ever plays.
So
as a douche,
we have it.
It's a good douche.
It's a great douche. Die Hard, fucking Biodome, even too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we again, for the client thing, it disturbed me. I was disturbed by them, just brushing off Sigourney Weaver, their first client. But then, yeah, they go to the hotel and all of a sudden they have these packs, they have their uniforms, and boom, oh, we captured the green guy. I mean, the green guy is probably, outside of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, he's probably the most iconic ghost from this movie. And, when people see that, they, will know it's Ghostbusters. But there's no, again, I know it's a comedy, guys. I know it's a comedy, but there's no consistency with what ghosts are. You got ghosts who can go through things and seem like humans. They even bring it up later, like they're coming back from the dead and everything, like humans coming back from the dead. But then you have the slime slob creature guy, blob creature, like
they just like shrug it off. Oh yeah, you got slimed. Fuck you! I got slimed. What the hell just happened? Yeah. It doesn't explain anything, like any kind of an afterlife. They're just going with it, and I mean, we just go along with it because you're not supposed to think too much about this movie, which is kind of fun and okay, but is not a great movie.
Right. And then yeah, because I mean, it's like some points I think, are we supposed to take this serious now or not? I feel like
I think you're just supposed to move it along like a J.J. Abrams movie. You just keep moving along and don't think about it too much.
Don't ask questions. And then but yeah, it's the green blob guy. But wait, no, it's not just floaty people who can go through things. It's also gargoyle dogs who are physical things, and then they can possess people. And then yeah, there's slime left behind. It's like it just makes no sense.
What about the effects? How would you grade the effects? Because I don't think they're good, but it's also 1984. So
yes. So for 1984, I mean, it's they're fine. The reactors, whatever they're called. I'm sure Kevin will tell us what they are when he goes off on his tangent.
This is the model 34B.
So you got the effects. So the weapons are cool, but
yeah,
the rest is for
it doesn't hold up, right?
Yeah, not so much. I mean, 1984. I mean, you had all three Star Wars original trilogy before this, and the dogs, the gargoyle dogs, are just crappy stop motion. It's it's not believable at all. They do some like upper shots of the city, and it's just, you can tell it's just a drawing, and it seemed like Hollywood should be way past that by that point, even for 1984. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on this. What do you think, Dave?
Well, I think just the way the effects don't hold up, I think that's just kind of true for the movie. I mean, the more you watch it with a critical eye, I actually, even though there's some criticism about how they start out as Ghostbusters, it is fun, right? I mean, you could, because the characters do have some chemistry, and Bill Murray is hilarious. But then once they get going, catching ghosts is pretty cool. That's kind of a fun thing. But then it goes into this weird Gozor plot. There's a cult of Gozer or Dozer or Rule. I don't even know these names or names I don't ever heard of. And then there's the building, and it was like the antenna for the ghosts, and this is just to fill a plot hole for why our Ghostbusters have so many ghosts to catch, basically.
Right.
And the movie just starts losing me here. If it was just them with a simpler story of just chasing ghosts and maybe like facing one big bad ghost or something like that in some form, I think this would have been a much better film. But it tries to be creepy, and it kind of falls flat, at least now. For its time, 84, I can see why it was huge at the box office. And I know why as a kid I loved it. But yeah, I think that's the general thing. Just as the way the effects don't hold up, the same goes for the story.
Yeah, and yeah, speaking of the building, the spirit antenna, like it's a building, and it's an antenna for spirits to come, and they don't really.
Sorry, it's just Harold Ramis like droning on, like he's reading out of a book. Like, oh, okay, guys, now this makes total sense. It's like you just like throw me for a further loop.
No, but so yeah, I mean, you got that, and then the ending just kind of seems to drag on and drag on and drag on. I mean, you got them on the rooftop. Well, first of all, before they're about to go on the rooftop, they fall through the ground. The road in front of them collapses unnecessarily.
Yeah, that's terrible. Like a bad earthquake kind of thing. Yeah.
Like, we know they're okay. Like, okay, oh, that was funny.
That's true. Is there ever any sense that they're in any kind of danger throughout this?
No, there's not.
You're just like, they're going to win. They're going to be fine. It's not even, there's no tension really. It's just like, who is this woman on this altar?
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to call attention to my co-host, who's sitting like with his arms crossed.
He's very nice.
His arms crossed, like he's waiting for that hostess to fetch her manager because someone did not bring the ranch dressing in time for his wings. Like that.
I have to be honest. The main reason I look like this is because my wife took my chair out of here, and I'm sitting on this metal $12 chair. And my ass is numb, so that's part of the reason I'm so miserable.
I thought it was the I have a cunt face on and it's ready to roll. So I had to call attention to that.
I mean, it's partially that. What they're saying isn't helping my mood.
Oh yeah, I keep
my
looking.
Completely numb cheeks are.
It's gonna be even more cranky.
I keep glancing at him. I'm just like, oh my god, we're
really like rage out
right now. Hey, this is your guys' show. You brought it on yourselves.
You guys can jump in anytime.
Did I?
Yeah.
You did. But and then Ernie Hudson is Winston. I mean, is there any point to this character?
It feels token, and I don't want to say that. He's not a bad actor. But
guess who's getting canceled, fuckers?
Yep, canceled guy. I didn't say it, so you can't cancel me. But he's right.
But it feels like that, right? Like he's just there just to be we saw this in a lot of movies in the 80s and the 90s, where they just throw in a black character who doesn't really do much, but have a couple of lines to just kind of be there. So it could have been nice if there was something more than that. But then again, with the movie and the way all the other characters were, well, then it's just par for the course.
Right. And then so yeah, I mean, that's like I said, the ending sort of drags on the roof. It's just like, okay, this David Bowie looking chick down and is trying to intimidate them, and then at one point they're not supposed to think because she allows them to choose. She allows them to choose what will be your undoing, or whatever the hell she says.
That's a great point. So they're like, clear your mind, which is obviously impossible. You could have just thought of, like, I don't know, a peach. Like,
then J. Edgar Hoover would show up and destroy the city.
Yes.
Oh, that's true.
Exactly.
But how do you not think? That's the problem.
Right.
And the best thing that they could come up with for the final boss for Ghostbusters to save the universe is a giant marshmallow man.
Right.
I mean, you're just like, just can we end the movie now? Because
Right. which was totally made up for the movie. Like, I could see having him, like, do they even establish that this thing exists in that universe before he even shows up?
Yeah,
Like-
there's Stay Puft marshmallows on our counter in the kitchen.
Oh, there you go.
So
some
in
world
the
building.
background. So, actually, it's,
You asked the question. You
scene
asked the
4. For me, I believe this movie should have went full slapstick, because at it's not fully. It's not fully slapstick. So I mean, that, like, the laughs don't come like they should. Like, when you're supposed to laugh, it's just like, oh, okay, well, I was kind of invested in the more horror element, and then when it is the horror element, it's just like, okay, so I'm supposed to be invested in this now. Like, I feel like they should have went.
I think that's a great point. It doesn't do comedy horror. It actually tries to scare you. And then when it all leads up to this one moment at the end, at the altar at the top of the building, it's just not delivering at all. If they had kept it lighter throughout, then it could have been more effective. We're led to believe that the world is at stake. At no point do I feel that way. At no point do I feel like the team is in danger. It's just like another obstacle, maybe to deliver some silly lines. But yeah, it tried to be a little bit too serious. And I think that's the big failure of the movie.
Yeah, definitely. And then another point is just the relationship with Bill Murray and Sigourney Weaver. It kind of was just like there all of a sudden. She was pushing him away kind of, and then they meet up and he's talking to her while she's with this other guy, and then all of a sudden they're dating. So okay. And then he sees her, she's like possessed, and possessed the whole rest of the movie, and disintegrated gargoyle, which was fun. But yeah, I mean, that's Ghostbusters in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Do you have any other points, Dave?
I mean, no, I just don't make too much of this thing, and I think I love it for nostalgia factor. As a kid who grew up, in that time watching this movie when I was a kid, I don't even mind the sequel because I know what it is. I keep it in the box.
You lost me now.
You know why? Because it's fun and it's silly and it's dumb, and I get a laugh, and I kind of like having fun with the characters, but I don't pretend that it's anything more than it is. And yes, this money made a lot of money. For some reason, it's we can do Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, you could find 90+ movies all over Rotten Tomatoes that aren't that great. So I think this one is fed by nostalgia, by the generation. It's a good movie. It's a fun movie, but it's just not a great movie, I don't think.
Fellas,
where we stand.
Give me a number 1 to 10 from each of you, your own opinions of it.
You go, Ben.
I would give it what was it? 7 on IMDb, way too high. 93. Yeah. I would give it a 4.5.
4.5
on an IMDb
Dave?
Scale.
Oh yeah, 1 through 10. Sure.
I give it a 6.
Wow. Kevin, I've never done this. I'm going to let you choose because I know where you lean, but you know where I lean. Do you want to fucking get all that angst out now, or do you want to come in and Mariano Rivera this shit?
No, I'd like to go first.
I had a feeling you would say that. Please,
He's like, I've been waiting.
Yeah. So first, I'm going to preface this. This is my favorite movie. I'm not saying this is the greatest movie. I don't think this is even probably in the top 10 greatest movies. It's my favorite movie. This is my opinion. I realize it's not a perfect movie. But it's my favorite movie. And I just watched it today. Now, I watch this movie probably a few times a year, and I hadn't watched it in a few months, and I watched it, and Kevin and I always talk about it. Since starting this podcast, I watch movies in a completely different light. Even when I'm just watching a movie for fun, you can't help but be overly analytical. It almost ruins movies for you. So I went into this and I was like, I'm gonna, really take a hard, honest look at this movie. And there are a lot of the problems that you pointed out are absolutely correct. The special effects don't hold up, but I mean, no special effects hold up from the 80s. You could say Star Wars holds up. Star Wars looks okay. And especially now, most of the times you see Star Wars, it was the remastered versions. But the point of this movie definitely wasn't the special effects. That said, this was the first movie I ever saw in a movie theater. 1984, my sister took me to see it, and I was 8. The movie scared the shit out of me. I remember not realizing it was supposed to be a comedy until probably 6 or 7 years later, when I saw it again, and I was like, oh, this was a funny movie. This wasn't, because then they came out with the cartoon. And yeah, so for me, this movie also holds a huge amount of nostalgia. This movie is probably one of the first real in-your-face attempts at a crossover genre type movie like this, where they tried to mix comedy, science fiction, and horror. For me, it worked. For me, it has a very eerie feel to it. The movies, for some reason, the movie in the 80s, and I never know, they must have started filming on different cameras in the 90s, because if you look at how the second movie was filmed to this, it has a very different look. It has a much grainier, much more real kind of movie. The look of the movie just has more gravity than the second movie. If you wanted a slapstick comedy movie, that was what the second movie was. The second movie, they just went all in on the comedy. They were like, screw trying to the horror and the seriousness. We're gonna fucking have the Titanic come back and Cheech Marin look shocked. Like that. They went all in on comedy. This movie, they really walked the line between comedy and horror, and I think in a lot of the scenes it works. The beginning of the movie, when the librarian is walking through the stacks. If you've never seen this movie before, that's an eerie feeling. We've all been in some area late at night having to put shit away, and you get that weird feeling. It's a scary moment. And when they show her get shocked, and then you never see the ghost, you see it later. That's a real moment. And for a number of years, when I saw that, I still got that same like, wow, this is they managed a scare in this. And then when you meet the characters, to say to say Dan Aykroyd isn't a funny actor I can't even respond to it. But struck a nerve. In terms of this movie, each of those characters fills a very specific point. Bill Murray is the sarcastic asshole. Dan Aykroyd is the true believer, and Harold Ramis is the nerd, is the socially awkward nerd who knows everything. And they fill all of those roles perfectly. Dan Aykroyd's character does change a little bit as you kind of progress through the movie. He kind of becomes a little more. So he starts to kind of fade into Bill Murray's character a little bit on the sarcasm, and just he starts to lose that like awe and true belief feel. So there is that. I will say one of my problems with this movie, and I just realized it today, is that Peter Venkman is an asshole. Oh, and we all knew that. You know that Peter Venkman's an asshole.
Bill Murray's an asshole, I believe, in all his roles.
Well, yeah, right. But he's supposed to be like the hero of this movie. He's supposed to be the guy you really like. And he's a complete asshole. He's a misogynist. Sort of seems like he might be kind of rapey. And he treats his friends like shit. And the only time, and he makes his buddy mortgage his family home a third time. So Bill Murray's really kind of detestable in this. But that said, as bad of a person as he is, when he has the chance to take advantage of Dana, he doesn't. He knocks her out. He does the right thing. He calls him up. It's like, we got so. And I think that shows that through all of that buildup, and we all know guys who try to put on this veneer of cool, kind of cocky asshole kind of people, Kevin Goatee. And
I knew I was coming to you.
But underneath that, they're actually a good, decent person, and that's what you see in Peter Venkman in that moment. Because otherwise, if he was really that guy that he'd been setting himself up to be, with the card test in the beginning, with the student and the making the kid spit his gum out, which still makes me laugh, he would have fucked her. Like I could have seen that movie. Like if they made that like almost like that like 90s raunchy teenage movie, he would have probably banged her. And then years later, we would have been like, that's rape. Yeah. Like we would have laughed in 2001. And then in 2021, we would have been like, we can't ever watch that movie again because that's kind of rape. But they didn't do that. They made his character redeemable. and then he sort of comes around, which for me is one of the reasons I like this movie. This movie is a full story. Listen, I'm sorry that you didn't get your Iron Man build the suit moment where they explain every bit of detail and they talk to Jarvis and have explained to you how they got, or the Back to the Future moment where he's like, I got the plutonium from the Iranians, and then the Iranians come and kill him. Which I always
Libyans, goddammit, Libyans.
Wow.
Who do you think? The Libyans. Come on.
I was putting it in 2021 terms.
Canceled.
I'm sorry you didn't get that. I'm sorry that you just couldn't say, oh, they're scientists and they build shit. There's a lot of movies that just say you have to accept this. So you guys must hate a lot of movies, because as a comedy sci-fi movie, this movie wasn't going to force feed you all of the information. You just had to accept some of it. Wait, I got to go to my notes now because
accept some of it. I should accept some of it. Okay.
Well, I mean, if you want a 4-hour movie where they're going to show you like piecing it together and say, oh, this is how the transistor goes into the, like, if you want that, you can, I'm sure there's a YouTube channel out there where they'll build a proton pack for you.
It would have been more fulfilling. I don't need 4 hours of it. I'm just saying, like,
and you know what? And they did that in the shitty remake. A lot of the stuff you wanted is in the shitty remake,
and that's why that's a masterpiece. No,
when they show them in the alleyway testing, and I don't know, and I blocked that entire movie from my head, and I don't know why I remember it now.
I don't know why you watched it to begin with. Shame on you.
And I had to. I mean, I just had to know. Like I never saw it. It's I was gonna make some ridiculous masturbating analogy, but I'm not going to.
You kind of just did, but
that scene is terrible when they show that, and it feels like such a waste of time. Who cares that they're testing it? They have it. We get it. I don't need to know how it works or the government regulations behind it. Oh, and this goes back to my point about Peter Venkman. Peter Venkman's an asshole, and he's the cause of all of the problems that happen in the last third of the movie. If he just said, yeah, Templeton Peck, I'll show you around and we'll work this all out, and we'll, if we need to get some permits, we'll get the permits. None of the rest of the movie would have never happened, because the containment unit would have never exploded. Gozer would have never gotten the sign, and they would have just gone on, I guess, busting ghosts and being happy. So Peter Venkman's really the reason, because he has to be an asshole to the government guy. He's the reason that everything ends up transpiring in the third act of the movie.
He was an asshole to Dickless.
Yeah, well.
Now I think he was more afraid of some sort of a supernatural being than he was getting a little handsy with Sigourney Weaver. That's my take on that.
Your complaint that they don't explain the different types of ghosts. Also, Jesus Christ, guys, what do you want, a fucking dictionary?
I didn't say I needed an explanation.
But they did. He says, "Oh my God, it's a class 4 repeating vapor." Like, you get an idea that there are different kinds of ghosts out there.
But class 4 vapor?
But you don't need to. But you don't need to know. Why do you need to know what each one is? You get the idea that they have classifications for these ghosts, and they're different, and we've seen different kind of ghosts. You see, like, the zombie cab driver.
What you really get is you think Egot just said this off the top of his head, because they seemingly have no idea what they're doing, but somehow get their hands on this like crazy tech.
I can't wait till the three of you share a tongue kiss at the end of this episode.
I can't wait either. Actually, I was promised that.
And then you said the ending drags on. A giant marshmallow man storming through New York City and stepping on a church is dragging on. What the fuck? You guys must be really disappointed at the end of Porn. Like, Jesus. He just kept stroking until finally he blew on her face. Yeah, that's how it works, guys.
But I just watched the middle parts.
Well, yeah, who lasts to the end?
You should see the end. It's usually the best part.
Yeah, it's the end of Ghostbusters.
I'm done in the. I don't even get 5 minutes.
Ernie Hudson. You're complaining about Ernie Hudson. Yeah, absolutely. His character felt tacked on, but it was supposed to be Eddie Murphy, and he was supposed to have a much bigger part. And then they brought Ernie Hudson in, and Ernie Hudson was clearly not the comedic actor that Eddie Murphy was. The part got seriously downsized, and I think then it even got cut more once it was filmed.
Now that's a movie I want to watch.
But you're 100% right. I would love to see that movie with Eddie Murphy. And again, I'm not saying this is a perfect movie by any means. Do I think it's a great movie? Absolutely. It's 100% a great movie. It It checks all the boxes as far as a genre-splitting movie going from horror to comedy. It has a cast that was iconic at the time that brought, I mean, like Caddyshack, like so many of those movies of the time, they brought an amazing cast together who I thought works incredibly off each other. The jokes all land. You guys said a quote and you both laughed. Like, how bad could a movie be if
One quote,
fucking whatever, 27 years later,
one quote.
the movie, that was the only quote you said. But
Exactly. That's the only quote I remembered.
The movie is massively quotable. The jokes still hold up today, and the jokes work. Unlike the sequel, and unlike the horrible remake, it's got conversational jokes, conversational humor, which I like. When it seems like humor that two people would say to each other in an actual comedy, not where it's like da 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 zing, and then you fucking everybody laughs like that. This was a conversational humor between guys who they all had, they had at the SNL experience. They all worked together. You could feel the chemistry between the cast. The story still holds up. The special effects don't. There's no denying that. But it's still cool to see. I still think seeing the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man storm through the city is entertaining as hell. And
Storm, more like slogged through,
which we knew about from
mush through the city.
Which we knew about from scene 16.34 that it was in the background on the counter. So yeah, you're right.
I couldn't think of a worse way to end the movie than a giant marshmallow man walking through the city. It's not funny. It's not dangerous. It's just a total nothing.
And Dave said that he wanted a movie where they chase some ghosts and then they end up battling a big bad ghost at the end. That's the movie you got. That was the movie.
Like a big bad.
They tried to.
I'm actually afraid of someone that I think is a real threat to everybody, not just this completely silly thing. He's sort of like the Michelin Man, but with like a hat. I mean,
but that was the irony of the whole situation, that they could have chosen anything, and this ridiculous cartoonish character shows up, and then when you actually get a look in his face and he makes that evil, angry face. You think, oh my God, you think this is terrible, and I'm laughing. Why isn't the movie over? The movie for me still. He fall off his chair.
Dave, I was just gonna say, you got so angry.
I was just ducking out.
Gozer, Moser, Blozer, coronary.
He literally ROFL'd.
And then you've said they should have gone full slapstick, which is what they did in the remake. Which was terrible.
We're not talking about the remake. We're
right,
talking.
but that's what happened. If you took that movie and tried to make it full slapstick, you'd end up with this overly comedied mess.
You're just mad that it was females.
Yeah,
yes. You got me. Damn it, you got me. So regardless, this movie to me will always be a classic. And like I said, I get that it's not a absolutely perfect movie, but I think it holds up. People will love it for years to come, and the cast will always be iconic.
Again, it's a beloved movie, like you said. I mean, it's
There's no denying its cultural impact. We just think it's overrated, but by a good chunk.
For me, it's an 8.
Whoa! I thought you were going to get more out of you than an 8.
No, like I said, I recognize that this is my personal favorite movie. I don't think it's a perfect movie. There are movies that I know that are better that I might not like as much, or I might not want to watch as often. But I can like something a lot and be realistic about its quality and its place in the universe.
Oh, I got all that. I just expected you to go like 8.5, at least 9. Honest to God, 8.5, 9 was the
it's not a 9. I mean, 9 movies are top tier movies.
Notes brought to you by guttingthesacredcow.com, where every day, Monday through Friday, being truthful, where Kevin Israel and I have new blogs for you every single day. That doesn't happen. Movie news, movie quotes, movies we've seen, sequels we want to see or don't want to see. And do not forget, please, if you have not yet done so, a 5-star rating, 2 or 3 sentence review on iTunes, Spotify, Castbox, Google, you name it. We're fucking on it. God damn it. Notes. Did you all forget the librarian in the beginning was Ray Finkel's mom from Ace Ventura? No one? Am I the only one?
You're the only one.
What do you know? Little footballs. Huh? Big football fan. Things of the past that will have to be explained to young people. a card catalog, which was the biggest waste of fucking time learning this in school, as was square dancing in gym class.
We just talked about square dancing.
Yes.
I just in
God.
my professional life, we were just talking about square dancing.
Good.
What's the point?
Honorable mention, geometry and algebra, unless you're an engineer. What monsters of parents would name their kid Egon?
Yeah, good point.
Right to Child Protective Services you go. Bill Murray makes 0 attempts to lose his Chicago accent despite being a New York scientist.
What an idiot.
Ectoplasm looks like Peter North shot a 4-roper into those books. Google that, young listeners. It's a fucking winning quality joke.
Make sure you stay to the end.
It's
Sorry.
also
Yeah, you would never know that if you didn't watch the whole thing. Sorry, guys.
I too saw this movie in the theater, but this was not the first movie I saw in the theater. My parents have alerted me my first movie I saw, of course, too young to comprehend it, was another Bill Murray film called Meatballs. Boy, that film is trash. Watch that as an adult. But I remember this being one of 3 memories was the library ghost scaring the literal fuck out of me.
Yeah.
The special effects are so goddamn bad. I mean, the library ghost yells, "Arr!" like a librarian reading a book to kindergartners, or my daughter, actually, a 5-year-old. "Arr!" And you know who said that? Ivan Reitman, guys. You couldn't have somebody else for ADR with $30 million budget. Eat a dick. Now, Kevin Israel, get ready to cue this up. A cellist can afford an apartment on the Upper West Side on Central Park West. All that space and a fucking balcony, that doesn't happen. I should have done
family
more.
money.
Yeah, I should have done more than 1 year of violin lessons, so I wouldn't have to do this dopey podcast anymore. I saw that apartment. Go, what is this shit? They make okay money. They don't make Central Park West money. Fuck you. Young Sigourney Weaver. Ooh la la. For 3 dudes strapped for cash that open a brand new business, how in the good goddamn name can they afford 2 video games and a pinball machine in that firehouse?
3 mortgages.
This film is Smoking in a Hotel old.
Unless
I got Ben with that one. If you like that one, Ben, get this. They're wearing unlicensed nuclear accelerators on their backs, but Dan Aykroyd's smoking a fucking cigarette, huh? Really?
okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Listen, they have the stickers everywhere when you go fill up for fucking gas, but you know what? I've got a fucking weapon that can level half of Tokyo. Nah, I'm going to light up a Marlboro Red. I'm going out anyway. Here's another bullshit moment. Peter Venkman has about 20 Mississippi to draw his weapon and shoot Slimer before he gets slimed. Explain this.
I didn't have a chance to field test the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's not true. They lit up
the
lit up the fucking toilet paper cart.
Just standing in the hallway. They're coming for me. They're coming for me.
Yeah. Zero exposition how they got or built their weapons and traps. And this is important because you just don't go to Harry's fucking Army and Navy to pick up something that can jumpstart a nuclear submarine. And more on that, how do you go from ESP testing and then miraculously getting your first ghost trapped on your first try? Fuck you. Big plot point. And yeah, I want that explained because you don't go from marksman with a laser to guys getting zapped to try and get pussy. Nope, not buying it.
I'll spoon feed it to you, Kev.
I don't listen from the guy who wants to Marvel stuff like that. You made the Marvel example, how they do set the origin story properly. There are certain things in here I need explained. When you can't go for these dopey guys, we're on our asses. What do we do? Look at this. We just built fucking proton accelerators. Bullshit. Ray stands getting a BJ from a regular lady goes, no, Ray, shoot for the fucking stars, not the stratosphere. Why stop there? I would go get the headless ghost of James Mansfield and fuck her instead of celebrate a random blowjob from a 6.
Good. That's a good point. That's
Thank
a
you.
very
Great
good point.
point.
Shoot for the stars.
Yeah, what are we doing getting a rando? Come on, go get a hot dead celebrity. William Atherton in his first or second best douchebag role. I'll let you boys figure that one out. Again, the special effects are beyond laughable. This came out after you had said 1, 2, 3 Star Wars films and also 1, 2, 3 Star Trek films. So don't give me the this is the 80s. What do you want argument? That's
Also-
bullshit. And I'm not done. I'm not fucking done.
I'm sorry.
$30 million budget. This ain't Blair Witch budget. $30 million should allow for some wham bam sizzlers. I'm not asking for fucking Endgame. I want something that's better than, as you aptly said, the stop motion photography horse shit, where you don't even see the grass halfway matted down as the gargoyles run across Central Park. Get the fuck out. Speaking of them, explain to me. You're going to show them getting attacked, the gargoyles attacking Lewis and Dana. They get kidnapped and then put in statues. I'd like to see them get dragged up, maybe a little bit of, maybe still eensy weensy bit of comicness apart. No. The line I did not add in my quotes because I had to get into this. When they drop off Lewis Tully at the station. Ready? Bellevue doesn't want him. Oh, the same Bellevue that takes people that go on stabbing sprees while spraying diarrhea all over people because they're not wearing pants, but they don't want a guy who's suffering from moderate schizotypal delusions. That's who Bellevue doesn't want? Fuck you.
Yeah, we're gonna give him to this strange fledgling Ghostbuster business. That'll do it.
Yeah, what's next? Was Barstool Sports not ready? Go drop him off to Dave Portnoy. They can figure out something too, right? Startup
Had a
companies.
commercial on TV.
Yeah. So did the guy that Matthew, I forgot his last name, who had the money Riddler suit about investing money. He had commercials on TV, Kevin Israel. And where'd that get him? In jail. Winston
They ended up in jail too.
Yeah. I'll get to that. Winston Zeddemore wearing a plaid shirt in jail, and another random black dude also wearing a plaid lumberjack shirt. That doesn't happen. 2 black guys, lumberjack shirts, same location. Nope. I've never been arrested because I run too fast. And I have a gold PBA family card. I've never been arrested, but I know the following. I know when you get arrested, they take your watches and your shoelaces when you get booked in jail. But apparently, if you have blueprints on you, you can take those to the holding tank and no one's going to care. It's always creepy to watch a man kiss another man's ring, pointy bishop hat or not. The mirror scene with the okay, fuck.
Yeah, no, I got you.
All right, I didn't know if I had to get into it.
You need to laugh at all of his jokes. Laugh at his jokes.
Don't patronize me, you fuck. It was nice seeing 1980s punks again. That was fun. It was also nice seeing how Orthodox Jews haven't changed their look ever.
Very consistent people.
Yeah,
They are indeed. One scene you guys didn't call out that has everyone's favorite greasy porn star smack middle in the frame. Ron Jeremy is in this film.
Oh,
Say when?
yeah.
During the scene where they're all going up to go get Gozer and the Marshmallow Man. When they go pan around all the crowd.
He's in the city in the group of
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Winston Zeddemore sure got
fitting that he ended up getting marshmallow all
Yeah.
over him.
Winston Zeddemore sure got hosed in screen time because, you know, if Eddie Murphy did make this film, he'd have 25 minutes of going, this is not my locker. You're damn right it's not. Or, man, I know this is I'm from Buffalo. I don't know who the fuck you are. I knew I smelled pig. He sure got hosed in this one. And I'm not going to go watch 2 to go clarify my point. Did he get more screen time in part 2, Zeddemore, or no? Because he sure got the short end. Yeah. Okay.
Him,
chemi-
him waiting for the laughs is funnier than the actual joke.
No. I wasn't waiting for laughs on that one. I was waiting for my Zoom. You have to pause for shit. The chemistry is very strong with this group. I disagree with you guys on this big time. Bill Murray, the obvious true star. This is pretty much his best or second best role ever. I can't give him the Caddyshack. Because he's a supplementary character. Nope. He's second. Give me a better Bill Murray role. Don't say Groundhog Day.
What about Bob?
No.
Lost in translation.
Oh, get out of here with that weak shit. I laughed
more.
That's terrible. Rushmore is terrible. I laughed more. I laughed more at this. You can say all you want to. The facts are here. I laughed more in this Bill Murray role than I have in any other film that he's done where he's the lead. Not even a snowball's chance in hell.
Is he the lead though in this?
I think he
100%.
took the. Yeah, he's not the lead in Caddyshack. Otherwise, I'd have to give him for that for sentimental reasons. Listen, the true star in that film of Caddyshack is a tie between Rodney Dangerfield and Ted Knight, and anyone who says otherwise is wrong.
Oh, Ted Knight is magnificent,
isn't he? Listen, the soundtrack is amazing. Is this entertaining? Bet your ass. Is it iconic?
Scrooged. Sorry, he was great in Scrooged.
Great. Not my favorite. I'll buy that.
He hated making that movie. And
he also hated Groundhog. He also hated Groundhog Day too.
Yeah, Scrooge is one of my favorite Christmas movies.
Yeah,
and he hated making it.
Yeah,
just saying.
Yeah,
I enjoyed watching it.
The soundtrack is solid. Oh, I said all that. Does this hold up? Meh. Does this pass the remote test? Boys, the remote test is this. If at any point you're flipping around on cable and you stumble a film upon any part of it, you drop the remote and go, "Yep, I'm done for the next half hour, hour and a half." This film does not pass the remote test for me. It has fun moments, but that final battle, I am sorry. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, he goes down with as much as a fucking sneeze. One shot, okay, great. Gozer, same story. The two final villains are dispatched within 3.5 minutes of each other. You guys said it best. There was no point where I felt any sense of danger for these guys whatsoever. And I get it. It is a comedy. It is funny, but when you have all these anchorish factors, it drags it down for me. And for the third time, the effects are a step away from a Toxic Avenger trauma level film. These effects are disgustingly awful. This was my favorite film as a kid from, 7 to fucking, 12. And it was, like I said, it was a favorite for a long time. Part 2 is easily one of the 20 worst sequels ever made. This film runs solely on nostalgia. It has merits, a ton of smirkable moments. I am not dying on the hill for this one. I let my co-host do it for me. 6.5 out of 10. Fair.
I hate you.
And by the way, Gozer was the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Great. Am I impressed now in knowing that either? Nope.
Same being.
Because they both went down like a fucking sneeze with someone who has fucking an immunodeficiency.
That was and it doesn't make it better.
No. But
speaking effects of the 80s, I when I wanted to interrupt you and you wouldn't let me, I wanted to say Blade Runner is up there as well.
Effects wise, great. Yep. Great effects. Amazing. And that was 1982. Let's see what those snobbish assholes who wear elbow patches and pretend to smoke a pipe, the critics, 5-star reviews.
5-star reviews.
It is not intended to change anyone's life. Just invite you to follow a fun and crazy group. Despite the flaws I'm dwelled on here, I feel a real affection for the Ghostbusters. How could you not? It's goofy, funny, homey. It's genuine comfort food. Ghostbusters is primarily a showcase for Murray, who slinks through the movie muttering his lines in his usual cheeky fashion and getting off an occasionally hilarious crack that proves he's thoroughly enjoying himself. On balance, Ghostbusters is a hoot. It's Murray's picture in a triumph of mind over matter. He blows away the film's boring special effects with his one-liners. Critics 1-star reviews. And Kevin, this is a first, because on Rotten Tomatoes, there are exactly 2 1-star reviews. There is more attention to special effects than to humor. Very true. Only intermittently impressive. Amazon 5-star. Wait, somebody have to say something.
There's more attention to special effects than humor?
Yes, which is an absolute inversely true statement.
Yeah, right.
Amazon 5-star reviews. This is a classic from my childhood, and my kids love it as well. What is not to love about this film? A great cast with amazing comedy. I am glad we got to share this film together and have a great laugh.
Oh,
The ghosts may not be as scary as I thought they once did when I was a kid, but it doesn't matter. You can't beat this, especially around Halloween. It was with much shock and horror that I discovered my wife has never seen Ghostbusters. I didn't realize this was possible. We live in the US. We're not Amish, and we own a TV and get lots of channels.
You actually say we're not Amish?
Yes, they did, in parentheses. It's like the scene in Back to the Future. You have 2 TVs? You must be rich. You have thousands of channels? Obviously, this oversight had to be corrected immediately, so we decided to stream the movie. I often worry about watching movies I loved as a kid because sometimes the casual misogyny and racism are too cringe-inducing and the acting is too 1980s. Thankfully, that's not the case here, and Ghostbusters stands the test of time. Also, it's been long enough that Sigourney Weaver's outfits are now back in style, which adds a scary aspect to the movie that wasn't there originally. Semicolon smiley face, not a real true smiley
This
face.
is a terrible review.
No, that's compared to some of the ones he finds. This is a great review.
What the, who is this weirdo?
Oh, wait till we get to the Amazon 1-star reviews. But we're almost there. But this, Kevin, this one, I thought of you. Being somewhat of a, quote, ghost hunter myself, I was... yeah, I guess the DIY YouTube classes are taking off. I was pleasantly surprised with this movie. The scientific accuracy and the procedures for capturing the spirits is so spot on. I thought I was watching a well-filmed documentary.
Can you get that guy's email?
Don't
We
worry.
need to have him on the podcast.
Oh, no. The federal government already has his email.
Yeah, they're all over that.
What is his email? openuproswell@gmail.com.
Well, you guys remember what happened in 1984? It was well documented.
Headline: Man tried building proton pack, blew up town.
Yeah. Next,
But we never found out how the proton packs were made. So
he looks like he jerks off the Scooby-Doo cartoons. Not looks like, I'm assuming. I especially appreciated the methodology in taking down the Michelin Man's fat, obnoxious uncle at the end of the film. The only part I had was the romantic relationship involving one of the ghost hunters. You can't even say Ghostbusters. It's the fucking title of the film, you douche nozzle. One of the ghost hunters and Ripley, the alien hunter. Oh, I get it. You're clever. You saw Alien and Aliens. Bravo. Bravo, Siskel. Any real ghost hunter knows that we will have none of this hussafudge that is alien hunting. They are simply imposters. Everyone knows aliens don't exist. Signed, one of the 2 silly assholes with sillier mustaches and berets from Mythbusters.
I desperately want to have a conversation with this guy and understand how aliens are less believable than, or aliens are less believable than ghosts.
He's
Like,
stocking.
obviously, there's no life in this universe, but there's definitely spirits from the afterlife.
Listen, if you go to a ShopRite on Route 17, you can find them stocking the frozen section from 2 to 8. Amazon 1-star reviews. This movie doesn't age well and is totally overrated. I find all the conservative religious undertones to be a little cringy. That kind of stuff doesn't need to be in the movie. Signed, Dennis Rodman.
what?
Curveball.
Oh, it was the joke.
I hadn't watched this movie since I was a kid, and oh man, the humor does not age well. The best part is the song, which they play in the opening credits. After that, it's meh. Won't be watching again. Not thrilled. Won't be watching again. Stop. Next one. Not thrilled. It should be free. Signed, Libertarian7476 at AOL.com.
Wait, read that again. That was...
Not thrilled. It should be free.
Okay.
I mean, because it's so bad, it should be free. And then if it was free, I would continue to watch it, but it's still bad.
Something tells me that this asshole says the word stimmy instead of getting a stimulus.
Oh, fuck those people.
Fuck him right in the goddamn dick holes.
No, I just got my stimmy, so.
Oh, we get never mind. I'll
Was
withhold
this
that.
somebody who was on like Amazon Video, and then they when you go, it's like you think it should come with your Prime account, but it's like $3.99 to rent. So he goes and gives it a 1-star review.
Yeah.
It should be free.
It should be free.
If you guys would listen to some of our older episodes and listen to some of these Amazon 1-star reviews we've culled, you have no idea of the rabbit hole you will go down if you do it on your own. Kevin Israel's favorites are when they complain how much they paid to watch the movie. And if they paid to watch it in HD or SD. Yes, these people exist.
So they treat it like when you order a mop off of Amazon, and you're like, well,
Yep.
you know, for $13, but I had like, you know, this ring aspect of it, but you know, I expect, I don't know, yeah. So
Or if they're going to complain that much, it's just like, just download it illegally at that point. You know, I mean, it's I'm not advocating that.
No,
on your
please.
show, but
I am. Download it legally. The musical aspect of this movie got old and boring. Oh, what an asshole. Great acting and not that great of a voice. Nothing too revealing in quotes, as it seems to be the basic, obvious points of Elton John's life, as anyone could have read in the papers. Boring and too long. Signed, someone who answers a banana when the phone rings.
What?
They were writing a review for fucking Piano Man. As
oh my
I had to include that one. And another rando. I was made to watch this for extra credit on an OChem exam. I assume that's organic chemistry. On an OChem exam. It's not as enjoyable when you study it for a grade. Thanks a lot, Mr. T.
Oh, wow.
What?
Someone had to watch this for extra credit for a class, and they got it
Oh,
ticket,
that
but the girl
is-
didn't like it. Holy
Yeah.
shit. See, guys?
Yeah.
Wait till you get to the people on their political soapboxes in the Amazon 1-star section.
Can't wait.
Go down. That's better than any kind of YouTube wormhole of Ric Flair and The Rock highlights. But Kevin Israel, did the fellas over at the Blockbuster Mentality gut the sacred cow?
No.
Nope.
Really?
Just a no.
I feel incredibly biased. Of course I'm going to say no. I'll leave it to you, KJ.
Oh, I'm going to say yes. They fucking took the tits out. They took the udder out, and they made themselves a mangina out of it so they could become a trans cow.
Well,
They-
then I invoke the gutting the sacred cow tradition of leaving it to the audience.
Yes.
Determine if they gut the sacred cow.
Ooh, a fan Twitter poll vote. Nothing means
Yeah.
more and is more credible than a Quinnipiac poll than a Twitter poll.
I think this has only happened like 3 times, 3 or
A
4
split
times.
decision. Yeah,
Yeah.
we had to go to the audience. Yeah, you were usually right in concert with each other.
I feel honored.
Oh,
You
this
should.
is nothing.
We did our
Yeah, guys. So start your campaign because this shit gets real.
People do take this seriously. We laugh and jest. People are like, nah, they fucking sucked. Or those dudes or those girls took it to the hoop and dunked on that shit. You'll see. Dave and Ben, where can we find you? What are you up to?
I mean, continuing to have guests on. We have these guests, I don't know, they're like Kevin and Kevin from Gutting the Sacred Cow. They're going to be on the show soon.
Christ.
Gonna be discussing Terminator 2 Judgment Day, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, just having more guests on. Got some lined up in the future. Don't want to, as Dave says, don't want to, hatch my eggs before they. Wait, no. How does the saying go, Dave? Hatch.
Put your rope before the end of the movie.
I was counting your chickens before they hatch.
No, that doesn't sound right. Yeah, no, that's the saying. But yeah, we got stuff coming on and coming up that I think you guys will be excited about. And at Blockbuster Cast is where you can find us on Twitter. Blockbuster Mentality is where we are on Instagram. That's where you can get all the updates on when new shows come out. And Dave, sometimes co-hosts, sometimes he's has head up ass and doesn't do so. But no, it's I'm glad he's here tonight.
I come out when I feel like it. Those are the rules.
Those are the rules. This is
Well,
my
thanks for coming out for us.
Yeah, anytime.
Good stuff. Kevin Israel, yourself?
KevinIsrael.com for dates as they are rolling in. I actually have a couple on the calendar, live shows, which is amazing. Very excited about. And my album, as always, The Struggle is Real, is available on iTunes and everywhere else. And like Kev said at the start, leave us a 5-star review, write a couple sentences. It helps us immeasurably. We've been getting a lot of great feedback, and the podcast is really growing great. And it's thanks to the loyal followers and listeners that we have, and to Kevin Goatee's amazing editing skills, which he dedicates himself to. And at some point, I'm gonna have to buy him a cookie or something for that. But yeah, check us out on whatever platform you use. Review us; it helps, and we appreciate it.
Couldn't have said any better, but I'll add kevingoatee.com. That way you can find me when I do Zoom happy hours for teachers. That's a real fucking hoot. Then and other dates that are also coming in slowly and surely. New news. Make sure you guys, if you're on Clubhouse, we are too. Kevin and Kevin Talk Films every Thursday at 8 p.m. You're not going to hear this by then, but Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Clubhouse. We're also going to do a comedy room Tuesdays at 8 or 9. But more importantly, at Kevin Goatee, at Kevin Israel _New Jersey, NJ on Twitter. We always post and share the links so you can jump on that. GuttingTheSacredCow.com. Like I said, the blogs are there every day. And head over to the merch shop, buy a hat, bag, shirt, mug, whatever the hell. And if you're feeling so generous, head over to patreon.com/GuttingTheSacredCow. Throw a few ducats in the old bucket, right? Has a little rhyme. But that's been a blast. Listen, you guys were just the goddamn bee's knees, Blockbuster Mentality crew. You guys are A-OK in our book. We're going to have you back for sure. We're going to have you do Ghostbusters, the reboot, and see if Kevin Israel doesn't change his mind on that one. Thank you guys for rolling on over here. We appreciate it. We'll see all you guys next week. Take care. Thanks a bunch. Later.